Welcome to part 3 of our series on developing a corporate planning model. In this tutorial series, we will develop a working annual budget model with annual figure phasing and specific submodels for sales, personnel, and travel planning. You can follow along with this tutorial using a free trial account of MODLR by registering on our homepage. In part 2, we developed our operating spend phasing formula for even phasing and last year trend. In part 3, we will develop a simple revenue model. Our revenue model will have two components. The first is a pricing cube, which will allow for planning both sell price and cost price by product. The second is our sales cube, within which we will enter our sales targets by product and store. The resulting revenue and cost of goods sold will be pulled back into the profit and loss cube. To begin, let's create the product dimension. Once again, I will be copying the dimension hierarchy from a text file I prepared earlier. We will add two hierarchies, one which gives totals by brand, and another which is a simple list of products. Next, we will create our pricing cube. Since in this example, our prices do not vary by store, we will not need the department dimension. Including the scenario dimension allows us to run multiple scenarios of the plan, which can simulate different pricing strategies. We need to add some measures to the pricing cube measures dimension. Since we would ideally like to enter the prices once per product, unless they change at some time during the planning period. We will make the prices carry forward from one month to the next. So let's add retail price and cost price, and another measure which will act as an override for each of these in a given month. Let's take a look at the new pricing cube and create our planning template for pricing. For this template, it would be good to see the retail price and cost price for each product, along with the override measure for each of these. We will have the starting price for the year stored in the annual month element, and we will write a formula shortly which pushes this into the months. Right-click on the target cell and select Edit Formula. We will restrict the formula to the retail price measure, the month of July, and the budget scenario. The formula will take the override if it has been entered. Otherwise, it will take the annual retail price. We will add the same for the cost price measure. So that we can have the prices rolling from one month to the next, we will need a hierarchy which acts as an ordered list of months. We will feed this list into a sequence function in our formula, which rolls the prices. We need to refresh the report so that it picks up the new hierarchy before writing this formula. This formula will be restricted to the month's default hierarchy, the budget scenario, and the retail price measure. The equation will check if there is an override for a given month And if so, it will use this. If there is no override, it will get the previous month's price. Now, as you can see, if we change the price in a given month using the override measure, the used price in this month will reflect the new price. The final price will be used to calculate revenue in our sales cube. I will write the equivalent formula for the cost price. Let's save this work view as price planning. We haven't added the actual prices into the cube yet, so let's create a view in which we can paste our current product pricing for the year. I can paste the figures from the workbook using the Ctrl-V hotkey combination. I will point out that I never actually removed my manual overrides to the pricing in August, which I really should have done. With that done, we can move on to the sales cube, which is where we will be planning unit sales by store. The measures will include units, revenue, cost of goods sold, net sales, and margin. We will start by making a simple reporting view showing unit sales by store. For this, we will use the retail stores hierarchy from the department dimension. This will include our brick-and-mortar stores, along with our online sales department. We will also ensure that any product or brand is selectable. Let's save this report as Sales Reporting by Store. Now we can create our planning template for unit sales. For this template, we will use a number of row sets to show a different mix of measures and products down the report. For each product in each brand, we will show the units measure so that the user can enter their target unit sales. After each of the products, we will show the brand total, where we will show all of the measures. Let's take a break from formatting the report to calculate our measures, starting with revenue. This formula will be applied to the budget scenario only and calculate units multiplied by the retail price from our price cube. To reference the price within the price cube, we need to use the link function. Since both cubes have year, month, and scenario dimensions, the only argument to this function is the cube name and the target measure to pull from within the pricing cube. The system will automatically match up the elements from dimensions which are common between the cubes and ignores any dimension which are in the sales cube but are not in the linked pricing cube. Any changes made to the pricing cube will now directly affect the revenue line in the sales cube in real time. Let's calculate the other measures. With this margin calculation, I should have changed the type from normal calculation to average or rate calculation. This would ensure that the formula calculates at all levels of the cube and prevents the percentages from adding up. With that done, let's move on to number formatting. We have a bunch of measures which all need different number formatting within this work view. For instance, units should be displayed as a whole number and margin as a percentage. We can use set instructions to add basic formatting to groups of measures. The instruction "Ignore new formatting on prior members" acts as a break between different formats and allows us to use a number of different number formats within a single set. Let's call this work view Sales Planning by Product. The last thing we need to do is link the profit and loss to the sales cube to pull through our target revenue and cost of sales amounts. Let's use the annual profit and loss report to add the new formula. we need to restrict the formula to the revenue account. And once again, we are using the link function to bring information in between cubes. Because the product dimension does not exist within the profit and loss cube, we need to specify a single element to use from this dimension. We will use all products, which in this case will return the sum of all products' revenue. To let the planners know why they cannot enter amounts into the revenue and cost of sales accounts, we will write a formula which hardcodes the phasing method for these accounts. In order for MODLR to be efficient with its calculations, all formulas need to refer to another cell. So in order to make the annual phasing cell display a hard-coded string, we will link to the sales cube in an if statement. In both cases of the if statement, we will return the same label. We now have a simple revenue planning model connected to our profit and loss cube. This concludes part 3 of the financial planning model tutorial. If you have any questions about this or any other tutorial in the series, please contact us on info@modlr.co.